What is the latest, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of The Ball is Life in the Paint on the Rise, whichever kind of podcast we got going today. But today on this show, we are going to announce the freshman of the year, the sophomore player of the year, and the junior player of the year for boys basketball across the nation. And Ronnie, we are going to head to the East Coast for all three of these guys. Why don't you start off and let us know who the freshman of the year is, and then tell us who the sophomore of the year is?
Yeah, this is obviously been a long winding season. We're in here to June, and we're obviously trying to wait as long as we can. California is about to end soon. We're still ranking the teams. We're still trying to make a pecking order. We obviously have some big games upcoming, and when you watch this video, it's probably going to be close to the end. See if Torrey Pines out in San Diego can have a historic season. But without further ado, as we go over the freshmen, like you said, we go back east. I think it's been one of those years where we're not really having the luxury of these freshmen playing in a lot of big events, national big events, or in front of college coaches during the summer of 220. So obviously we're all behind a little bit here, not just me or you or anybody that follows these teams. Everybody's a little behind the eight ball. There wasn't one kid that stood out. There was a lot of candidates, but at the end of the day, the one that made the most sense in the freshman of the year for 220-221 is Derek Queen from St. Francis Academy in Baltimore. He's a 6'8" freshman. I think he checks off all the marks as a great first-year player. He's kind of positionless, a little bit as versatile game. He played in a tough league, the Baltimore Catholic League. His team went 15-1. They were nationally ranked. He averaged about 14 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Devin, when you have a team that has 4 other guys going D1 and a guy can score 56 points in a game as a freshman, I think that stands out pretty well. Wanted to talk a little bit about the other candidates because, again, it wasn't a slam dunk. It wasn't something where we didn't consider other guys. I think you have to look, come back west to Isaiah Ihulim from Heritage Christian in the San Fernando Valley. He had a great season on a team. Again, another team with other D1 players. He averaged about 18 points a game. And then there's 2 freshmen in New Jersey that were very good. I actually got to see one recently, Elliot Cadu from Bergen Catholic, a point guard at the Pangos All-American Camp. I think overall he was the best 224 there. And not too far away is Nasir Cunningham. He's more of a dynamic wing from Gil St. Bernard. So those two kind of canceled each other out. New Jersey didn't have playoffs. Again, Isaiah Ihulim is right there with Zion Sensley up north in Reardon. It's probably the 2 best guys in California to start this season off. But I think overall, Derek Queen's a great pick.
Great stuff, Ronnie. Yeah, if you can average 15 points a game in that league for that kind of team and play at a 15-1 clip on the season, that's really impressive numbers for that young man there on the East Coast. Let's transition into the sophomore of the year, and a lot of people are going to know this name already. His father in the NBA. He's a highlight reel kind of guy, a big time scorer. Ronnie, who is our sophomore of the year?
Yeah, our sophomore of the year is following up from last year. He was the freshman of the year. And again, we go back to New Jersey. It's DJ Wagner from Camden, 6'3" guard. This year he led Camden to a 13-0 record. They got very high in the Fab 50. Again, we don't know how that could have played out if they would have had a state tournament of champions. He hasn't been able to, participate in that yet because last year the pandemic slowed his team down right as they were going to, go on a playoff run. And then this year they went 13-0, best team in New Jersey. He's a pretty natural scorer. He can hit from deep range, mid-range, and he gets to the rack pretty well. Very good with the ball. He averaged over 20 points he had over 20 points in 11 of the 13 games, 22 points per game on the season. First team All-State honors. Very interesting. As you mentioned, DJ, his father played in the NBA. His dad earned top honors among sophomores in 98, 99. And the only other player from, the Garden State to earn this honor in between the father and the son was Michael Kidd Gilchrist from St. Patrick in 2008, 2009, when he was actually the state player of the year as a sophomore. Even though Dexter Strickland and Kyrie Irving were on his team, he was a really dominant high school player. So very interesting. He's led Camden to a 42-1 mark. And very interesting, his dad won the Tournament of Champions crown in his junior year at Camden in 2000. So it's something for DJ to look forward to next year, obviously, as we get back to a regular, quote unquote, regular season. And obviously he's a player that you said people know. People know a lot of guys in this class. Obviously, I think people know Mikey Williams, who was in North Carolina, Lake Norman Christian. The other name that is really people are going to know now is Matt Booley. Obviously, he played at West Oaks, but he signed a professional contract with overtime. And he's another guy that's well known. Necessarily, I'm not putting them in the ranking order, but I think the guy that's right there with DJ as far as like could be the best player in this class and is right there with him as a prospect is Bay Fall from Lutheran High in Parker, Colorado. He's more of like a 6'11" inside player, very fluid, shot blocker. He was one of the best overall players at the recent Pangos camp. And again, he doesn't have the flash and dash of some of the guys in this class. Obviously, he's not maybe as video centric, but if you watch him play, and I like watching him on video because he's blocking every shot. He's fluid. He runs the court. He's great instincts. So, he's a player to watch for this summer. Obviously, DJ's a little more closer to the vest. He doesn't play in every grassroots event, but that doesn't take away from his talent. His talent is obviously there. He has the bloodlines and he has the production. I mean, Camden has gone 42-1 in his 2 seasons there so far, and they play great competition.
Let's hope next season we get a chance to see DJ Wagner in a playoff setting, to be able to see how he performs in a big game. And I'm sure with the 42-1 record and his scoring ability, that he would come up big in big game situations. But Ronnie, let's move to our junior of the year. We already announced the player of the year overall, which was Chet Holmgren. You guys can check out the video on ballislife.com. But we're going to move to the junior of the year. Also probably comes from the best team in the country this season.
Yeah.
And why don't you give us that name? I don't think it's going to surprise anybody.
No, yeah, definitely not going to surprise anybody. Again, if you saw that starringballislife.com, saw the video we did with Chet Holmgren's coach, we went over the voting for player of the year. So it was Chet Holmgren at number 1, Jabari Smith, who I think is very underrated. Devin, I'll say that again, going to Auburn. I think I really like Jabari Smith, and the panel liked Jabari Smith. He was number 2, and number 3 was Jalen Duren. He got 2 player of the year votes for second place and 4 for third place. He's the junior post player, 6'10", out of Montverde Academy, the number 1 team in the Fab 50, who will be the mythical national champions. He appeared on nine ballots. I'm not sure who didn't vote for him because Kennedy Chandler was on 10 ballots in 4th place, the point guard out of Sunrise going to Tennessee. So, the junior of the year, without obviously he's the only junior on that top 4 is Jalen Duren. Again, people say that it's a guards game, that the post, is a little bit dead, but I think he's kind of killing that notion, just as the Joker is in the NBA and Joel Embiid and a few other guys. Post play is super important because again, this guy didn't really take a bad shot pretty much all year. Like he was really played to his strengths. He was inside. Obviously, this team is balanced. They're very, very good. Obviously, have a lot of other good guys, 2 or 3 guys who really were up for All-American honors. But Duren averaged 14.3 points. 4 players averaged over 10.4, 8.4 rebounds, 2.2 blocks. But the key to him is he shot 65% of the field. As he showed at the recent Pangos camp, he was there as well. He was the best player there, the most outstanding player. He passes well from the interior, very patient, resets, knows how to regather. Doesn't really take too many bad shots, So I mean, he had a great season. Obviously, it was shown in their record, and their competition level has to also be said. Obviously they played some of the best teams night in and night out. And when you look at that, you look at Sunrise Christian, Devin. They played them 4 times. They beat them 3 times. Obviously, Sunrise beat them once. They finished 24-1. But if you look at a guy like Grady Dick, who's going to Kansas, Grady Dick was spectacular at Pangos. But this is a guy averaging maybe 7-8 points a game for Sunrise because they obviously had Kendall Brown. They had Kennedy Chandler and some other good guys. So this just shows you how good those teams are. Grady Dick was a role player on that team, and he's one of the 5 best players at Pangos probably. So it just kind of shows the level that Jalen Duren is competing at. And obviously he had terrific season. There's some talk that he may reclass up and go to the next level, make the next move. And we actually got a chance to talk to Coach Kevin Boyle and to Jalen himself a little bit about his season and about his goals. And, we want to honor him. And we got to actually speak to him. So let's, without further ado, let's go into that.
Here with Jalen Duren, Montverde Academy 2022 forward. Jalen, talk about you being National Junior Player of the Year and the season you had in your junior season.
I feel like it was a great season. I had a lot of fun, a lot of hard work put into it. It was a great honor to be named the Player of the Year, and it just shows all the hard work I put in.
Talk about the team you guys had and how that played into your season. You guys had a great season, only lost one game, won Geico. How satisfied were you with your progress?
It was a great season. A lot of great guys on the team, great coaching, great development. We worked hard. I feel like I had a lot of fun, and like you said, we had a lot of success. Only losing one game, could have won undefeated, but we won Geico, so it was a fun year.
You guys are obviously coming off a national championship year. What are some of your goals for next season, and how are you improving your game individually?
Goals for next season is to repeat, actually, and do the same thing. My personal goal is just to get better as a player all around and work on my game.
What are you working on this summer? The one thing you want to really get better at?
Nothing. It's not one specifically. I'm trying to just become a better player all around. Just better my whole game from both ends of the floor, and just like I said, become a better player.
Thank you for your time, Jalen.
All right, Ronnie, our Player of the Year awards are under wraps, and we have the coach of our Junior of the Year, Jalen Duren. Coach Kevin Boyle is here to talk with us about his big guy. Coach, what made Jalen such a special player this year, and why do you think he deserved or earned the Junior Player of the Year award?
Well, his impact on the game, is really, at an elite, unusual level, because obviously he has tremendous size at, 6'10", 6'11". He's got, he's in great physical condition. He's strong. And yet he's really athletic, which really separates him from a lot of other bigger players. He has the athleticism of a guard, that he can really get out and move and defend, when you push him and work him and drill him into those areas. And we got upset at one point early in the year in Sunrise, and we kind of sagged off Kennedy Chandler, who's a terrific player, and he kind of hurt us a little bit that. And then the next two games, we really trapped him hard with Jalen. And it would be hard for a lot of other big guys to do that with such a clever, great guard. But he was able to really trap him, get him to have to bounce out of it back towards half court and have to pass over Jalen and, opposite side of the court, which gave us recovery time and kind of made him, took him out of the game a little bit with his ability to dominate high school games. And a lot of that was Jalen's ability to help trap and be big in those things. And that was something that's really, especially when you look at the pro levels, can you guard a ball screen? Can you switch? He's got that potential to do that really well. And again, that's a work in progress to get to those levels. And he's got, tremendous upside in his game. He's this year was able to score and be big around the basket, but I think he's really close to being able to face up to the basket and expand his game. It's just probably another 12 to 18 months of skill and drill work and buy into that skill and drill work. And then you'll see a guy that, why people are talking so excited about his possibilities. He's not that far away from reaching some of those. But, he's intimidating too. His size, his presence,
Sure.
That he's, cut up and, he has that appearance and athleticism that really dominate a game just from being on the court.
Yeah, that makes sense. He definitely has a lot of physicality and eats up a lot of space. In today's game, Coach, a lot of kids like to move away and shoot the three and be on the perimeter. What's about it that his mindset that he thrives in the paint? He obviously shoots it from a high percentage, and it showed that in that final Sunrise game. Nobody missed a shot from the field when the game was on the line in that third quarter, and I think he led that charge. What is it about him that keeps him from saying, hey, Coach, I want to just shoot a bunch of threes and be the next Kevin Durant kind of player?
Well, I think he recognizes that, we try to sell to him that, it's important to have a diverse game and to be a basketball player, not a position player. So you could, utilize your skills versus whoever's guarding you where it's best to your advantage. If it's posting, if it's facing the basket, if it's putting it on the floor. But I also think we talked to him about, when you look at Bam and some of these other big guys who've expanded over time, Siakam and these guys, a lot of those guys, developed over time. They put in it was a process. And first you got to have a home and where you could dominate and maybe dominate around the rim, and you could always go there to get numbers and get points and get to the foul line. And then each week, each month, each year, you add to that. And that you hopefully, when you're adding to that, you don't take away from what you do good to show people that you can do other things. You blend it in together. And that's where we're with Jalen now. We want to blend more of a perimeter game with him into next year, but we don't want to take away his dominance inside. So I think he understood that at this level, I got to be able to first dominate here and then expand myself while I'm working on it. And I also have to be good enough at those things to utilize in the game where it makes sense for me and makes sense for my team. So if I'm shooting 18% from three, it's not good. A big guy in high school, they make 1 out of 5 threes. Everybody's excited about how they can shoot. Well, you're not shooting too well when you're shooting 20%. So that's something that you grow on and develop. And, I think next year people will see, the dominance inside, but even more of a blend from him with elbow jump shots and attacking the rim off 1 or 2 dribbles from that high post area, top of the key area. And with other big guys, we have him having the ability to be more in the perimeter at times, but, still keeping it 65-35 where he can dominate inside. Today, he accepted that was the best thing for him. He trusted the process that we're going through, and he trusted that he wanted to win. And it was important that I had to go home and close to the rim to dominate to make sure we, put this thing, the championship back to Montverde.
Coach Kevin Boyle, we appreciate your time and your insight on your junior of the year, Jalen Duren. Great stuff there from Jalen and Coach Boyle. Ronnie, I'm glad you got a chance to catch up with Jalen. He's a tough guy sometimes to come across, but you made the most of your trip out to Vegas for the Pangos All-American Camp and got a solid interview with Jalen. And Coach Boyle, as usual, Ronnie, a really good guy to talk to and kind of get the pulse of, not only Montverde Academy, but also, the pulse of the Fab 50 in general.
Yeah. They obviously they've won 6 titles in 9 years. He has a good perspective on guys getting to the next level. He's obviously going to have, a historic NBA draft in 221, meaning the Montverde program. And also Jalen Duren won't be too far from he'll be in the draft sooner than later, pretty high. I'm pretty sure, Devin, I think that's not really going out on a limb there. Duren is the second junior of the year for Montverde. Ben Simmons was the junior of the year in 13-14. And he's the third honoree from Florida in that time frame. In 2017-18, Vernon Carey had a monster junior year for university school. And Ben Simmons went on to win Mr. Basketball. Vernon Carey had some injuries as a senior, and he wasn't able to earn that honor because obviously it's about production. So all 3 of these guys, Derek Queen, DJ Wagner, and Jalen Duren, had great production. And we're going to hopefully see them in the summer, see how that goes. Obviously, it's going to be a quick summer. We're getting to the live period very quickly, even though we still have high school basketball going. It's just the craziest thing. But, yeah, congratulations to all those guys on a fantastic 2020-2021 season. And be on the lookout on ballslife.com for that release. You can read the story, watch the interview, and next week we'll come back with the Team of the Year honors.
That is right. We're waiting for California high school basketball to kind of wrap up here. Torrey Pines, who knows if they're going to win the Open Division Southern SoCal Regional Championship.
Yeah.
Bear Canyon. It could be Damien. It could be
with the upset or Etowanda. Yeah.
If you guys are watching this, you probably know by now who is the champion in Southern California. But we appreciate you guys tuning into the special edition podcast of, if you want to call it In the Paint, if you want to call it On the Rise. But if you want to listen to In the Paint or On the Rise, make sure you go to the Balls Life Podcast Network on any of your streaming platforms. Check out the In the Paint show. Check out the On the Rise show. We're going to have some fresh new episodes coming soon. But until the next time we jump on here for the Fab 50 Team of the Year, Ronnie and Devin are signing off.